What a wild week we had in NFL free agency, and it is just getting started. So welcome to the top of the line. Nick Lynch here.
Ben Heltzer along with you.
And some big news with NFL free agency. So to start it off, the big one to start off the whole free agency thing, Russell Wilson signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers with a league minimum $1.21 million. The Broncos will also pay $35 million of his salary. So,
yeah, and it's so funny because, like, the Broncos are basically paying him to leave, and I just think that's what happens when, like, you don't, mesh well with the team. And it's partially on him, but it's also partially on, people like Sean Payton and the organization. But I think it was great for him to get out of there. Pittsburgh was definitely one of the top teams I was predicting for him. So, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
He visited with the Giants shortly before, then the Steelers, and then he signed a deal with the Steelers. Kirk Cousins then, right after, to the Atlanta Falcons, after he said the night before he wanted to test out free agency and leave the Vikings.
Yeah, and that took me by surprise. That was one that I did not see coming. I think I went on record saying that I thought he was going to stay. Him and Jefferson were going to give it one more go, but nah, he's out of there, along with Danielle Hunter, but that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, Kirk Cousins is out. I didn't expect it, but I'm happy for him to see what he's going to do with this new team.
I agree. But the Vikings got their own replacement for Kirk Cousins. Sam Darnold they got, who was on the 49ers as a backup. Now, will he start for the Vikings? Will he serve as a backup for someone for the Vikings?
I don't know what the Vikings are going to do. I thought they were going to maybe try and trade up for someone in the draft, but they went out and got Sam Darnold, which I think was a good decision, a safe move just in case they didn't come out with anyone in the draft. So I think that he might be the starter for them, but we'll just have to see what they do in the draft.
I agree. Some minor quarterback signings in the NFL. Marcus Mariota signs with the Washington Commanders, who is going to serve as a backup for anyone they draft. Tyrod Taylor goes to the Jets. Drew Lock goes to the Giants, and Jameis Winston goes to the Browns, who says he wants to be a starting quarterback again sometime in his career.
Yeah, that was an interesting one for me.
Agree.
Jameis Winston, I think that he's going to do great things on that Browns team. I think that team's going to be pretty scary this year.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Now to the running backs, Josh Jacobs signs with the Green Bay Packers, and because the Packers, Aaron Jones leaves to go to the Vikings.
Yeah, so basically my thoughts on that was they basically downgraded, in my opinion. I think Aaron Jones is still better, but I guess their thought was like Josh Jacobs is younger. He's going to be better for longer. But Aaron Jones to the Vikings, I think it was a great move for them. And, a lot of running backs are moving around.
I agree. Like Josh Jacobs, I think he was the 2022 NFL rushing leader, and Aaron Jones, I feel like, was at the peak of his career in Green Bay. The big running back news we have is Saquon Barkley goes to the Philadelphia Eagles on a surprising deal that leads him to Philly.
Yeah, a lot of Giants fans feel betrayed, and rightfully so. I mean, going to a division rival must suck, but, I mean, Saquon, I don't blame him at all. The Giants weren't willing to pay him, and he wanted to go to a contender who was willing to give him a bag, and the Eagles were right there. They gave him his bag. They're going to be contenders, and I think that Eagles team is going to be insane this year.
The Ravens also signed Titans free agent running back Derrick Henry to a contract. So what do you think of that?
I mean, yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yes.
That's where I thought he was going to go. I said he was going to go there. He ended up going there. I think everyone thought that. And, yeah, another team that's just going to be absolutely insane with their new running back.
Was I the only one that thought he was going to go to the Cowboys, or is it just...
I think a few people thought that, but
yeah.
He was always going to the Ravens.
Yeah, with the Cowboys' zero moves, that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, they're going to be prime candidates for the ring.
Yeah, huge upgrade for the Ravens, too. Austin Eckler goes to the Washington Commanders after leaving the LA Chargers.
I think that's pretty fitting for him. He's on a downward slope. He's not getting any younger. He's not getting any better. I think Washington's the perfect team for him to just kind of die out.
Yeah, upgrade that backfield a little bit for Washington. The Giants found a new running back with Devin Singletary from the Houston Texans as Coach Brian Dable and coached him back in Buffalo and thought he would fit in right in with this offense.
Yeah, and Devin Singletary is a guy that he's a journeyman. He's becoming a bit of a journeyman, but at the same time, he's consistent. He's gonna give you at least 800 to 900 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns a year, and I think he's gonna do great with the Giants.
And the big one in a trade, the Houston Texans have gotten Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's a huge upgrade. I feel like for the Texans, I think they could be AFC contenders. I think they could be like the Bengals from a few years ago, wild card team made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. And also them getting Danielle Hunter, they're going to be scary. But I think that they had to have gotten someone at running back because that was like one of their biggest positions of need on offense. I really thought that they were going to go after Saquon, but after he went to the Eagles, I was like, all right, they're going to end up with someone. And I think Joe Mixon's going to be a great fit in Houston.
I agree. Unfortunately, we are out of time on the NFL today, but don't leave because when we return, Marco and Andrew will be talking about the Premier League on Top of the Line.
Hello, I'm Marco Baldino.
And I am Andrew Mirzaaghasi.
And we'll be covering this week's games in the Champions League and the Premier League.
So for Premier League, as we predicted the last episode, it was a tie for Man City and Liverpool, 1-1. I was kind of hoping that Man City would have won because they scored earlier, but because of the penalty that they called, Liverpool was able to score, and it just ended up being 1-1.
Yeah, just like we both predicted, 1-1. And Liverpool are actually fine with taking a tie because right now Arsenal's in first place. But to be honest, I don't think Arsenal's going to stay in first place. I feel like they're going to eventually fall down to either second or third. And I feel like Liverpool's going to go back up on top.
Yeah, honestly, because of like the other matches that will happen next week. However, the next week of Premier League, we will not talk about because there's like a lot of games that got postponed that week, which includes both the Man City game and Liverpool and Arsenal. So for as of right now, surprisingly, Arsenal is winning, but they won't keep it for now. So
yeah. So I think in the first half, in the 18th minute, one of Liverpool's goal was disallowed from an offside, but in the 23rd minute, John Stones' awful corner kick. It was like a nice play set up by Man City. John Stones scores for City, puts them up 1-0 in the first half. What do you think of that goal?
I thought it was okay, but it was a very horrible corner kick, though. I'm just surprised that actually.
Did you see? I think it was. I forgot who it was. Akanji or Ake was shoved like whoever's Liverpool's player like off the front post, which made John Stones run to the front post and tap it in.
Yeah, I did see it. It's just that I'm just really surprised off of that corner kick they were actually able to score a goal, and they ended up keeping it to the first half, but as we all know what happened around the second half.
Yeah, and then Liverpool, you said like the penalty, it was like a bad pass to Ederson, and then Ederson swings and completely kicks Darwin Núñez, and McAllister would finish the penalty to tie the game 1-1. But you see at the end of the game how Doku and McAllister in the box, like Doku had like, it was like a really questionable call, but they didn't call a penalty like in the last play of the game.
They really did.
Liverpool could have had another penalty kick.
I know. I'm really surprised by that, but thankfully that didn't happen, and it ends up being 1-1. So
yeah, and Man City like hit the crossbar in the post like also like in the second half, and also this will be the last time we'll see Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola face off against each other.
Yeah, it is
two legends. Yeah.
Yeah, two legends. They won't meet up again, and I feel like that's very sad to see.
Yeah.
Of course, nothing can last forever. So.
Exactly, yeah.
So for standings, we have Arsenal in first place with 64 points. Second would be Liverpool with 64 points as well. In third place, Man City with 63 points. In fourth, Aston Villa with 55 points. And for fifth place, we would have Tottenham with 53 points. So Arsenal's in first by 1 point. It is...
Well, they're above by goal differential, I think.
Yeah, by that. But like you said, I highly doubt they're going to stay in first
Yeah,
forever.
they're definitely... I don't think they're not going to stay up much longer.
They're most are definitely not going to stay up for much longer. So now we go to the Champions League. So we start off with Barcelona versus
Napoli, yep.
Napoli.
So, in the first leg, Barcelona came out very strong in the first half, had many shots and chances. And throughout, almost the whole game, they had a lot of chances. But Napoli's goalkeeper stood really strong. Alex Meret, I think that's how you say his name, was really solid in goal, really kept Napoli in the game, kept it really close. And, yeah, the game was a tie 1-1.
Yeah, tie 1-1. I felt like in like around the 60th minute with Mirzaaghasi, he would score his first goal surprisingly, which in the game
It was scored,
from a near
the
post
first
shot,
goal.
from a near post shot. So I'll take it with that. But then again, 15 minutes later, Napoli would score. Napoli would score, and ended up being like a 1-1.
Yeah, and then we get in the second leg, Barcelona, I feel like, would definitely dominate this game, getting the 3-1 win against Napoli, and they'll eventually advance to the quarterfinals. I feel like Barcelona definitely, in the second leg, were definitely more dominant than in the first leg.
Yeah, most definitely, especially when it gets like a solid 3-1.
Yeah, and then they were at home in the second leg, so they had the advantage.
Yeah, so Barcelona advances, I guess.
Yep.
So for that, so now we would have Real Madrid versus Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah, sorry.
So in the first 3 minutes, Leipzig had 2 great chances to score. However, the first was disallowed by offsides, which was pretty controversial to say for at least. And the second one had a perfect chance in the box, which was an easy save for Real Madrid. So for the rest of the first half, both teams had decent chances. However, none of them would score in the first half, making 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Red Bull Leipzig definitely was able to hold up Real Madrid from their attack. They had really good defensive play, and they really forced Real Madrid to make some mistakes in the offensive area.
Yeah, I guess if it comes from that, really 0-0 with no goals whatsoever is kind of surprising. However, it wouldn't last for long because near the second half, Real Madrid would score. It would end up being 1-0 for Real Madrid. So
Brahim Diaz, scores a beautiful goal from outside the box to put Real Madrid up 1-0, and that's how the game would end. 1-0, Real Madrid with the win. But I feel like Real Madrid could have got more goals if they didn't have made so much mistakes in that game.
yeah, most definitely, because I felt like the first half could have had so much potential, but because of what kind of played out, it ended up being 0-0 first half. But at least a goal was scored in this game, so at least there was a winner. So now we move on to the second leg, which Red Bull would have very good chances for a first goal, and sadly they couldn't finish it. In the beginning of the second half, Real Madrid came really strong with a first goal in the 65th minute. Sooner or later, Red Bull would strike back with so much pressure on the line. They were able to score and tie it 1-1. But in the end, Real Madrid would still hold up, and they still secured the win.
Yeah, I feel like Leipzig were really trying to press high against Real Madrid, which I feel like works sometimes, and then eventually worked to get that first goal. But Real Madrid were able to shut them out for the rest of the game. But to be honest, Red Bull Leipzig, gotta give them credit for putting up a great fight against Real Madrid.
Yeah, especially in the first leg where they somehow 0-0. Then they were able to make it a tie in the second leg. But it wasn't going to last forever. It was going to crack little by little.
So in other games in the Champions League, Bayern win 3-0 against Lazio in the second leg to advance, which I said last time we were talking about the Bayern-Lazio game.
Yeah,
I think
upset.
Lazio were not going to be prepared for the second leg.
Yeah, honestly, after the upset that was that, I highly doubt that they were going to win again.
Man City went 6-2 on aggregate to advance. PSG advance, Arsenal advance in penalty shootout, and also Atletico Madrid wins in a penalty shootout, surprisingly knocking out Inter Milan, which I'm surprised. I thought Inter would definitely beat Atletico Madrid, but
I guess not when it comes to penalty shootouts, which is my favorite part of soccer, where you have these two teams where they go for what's going to make it in, what's not going to make it in.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure behind it, and I personally like that in the soccer game where it goes to penalty shootouts, because if they miss, you'll feel angry. If they make it, then you feel happy.
That's always so nervous.
It is
to watch.
It is very hard to watch. But that's mostly my favorite part of it. That's why I like soccer a lot.
All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for a recap of NFL and college basketball games and continuing coverage of the Premier League. All this and more on the next episode of Top of the Line.